Hello, everyone. Welcome to another pod of URC Unloaded, of course, brought to you via Play, not Premier Sports anymore, via Play. We're back, and we're joined by Tom Shanklin and John Barkley. Well, lads, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. I'm good, thank you. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. Miss has been away, so I'm a bit tired, but shouldn't moan.
She's allowed her holiday, John. She's allowed her holiday.
Exactly. How are you guys?
You've let her out. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. A good URC week, and also it's the Six Nations coming up as well. So everyone gets excited. Just when you think, like you think, oh, will I enjoy the Six Nations the same as I did last year? You do, don't you? Because you see the adverts and it comes round and you get excited. So
You
can't
get
wait.
excited.
Yeah.
Wallets will be bulging.
You didn't make the cut for the adverts, Shanks, for the Six Nations, but you did make the cut for the adverts for the URZ on Viaplay. What's going on? You're sort of on the way out.
No. As soon as they do like a big hit montage or greatest tries, I'll be on there.
How many tries you score? Genuinely.
Oh, John. God. I don't quite remember. 20.
20 in how many tests? 80?
70, but I had to retire early because of my knee.
Right.
And we all know that I would have gone on to be one of the greats. Probably still playing now.
You are great. Hey, I'll tell you that. You're great in my name.
Yeah.
Me and Alan win, dominating Wales still.
He's back.
Well, we'll get on a little bit more about Dad's Army playing against Ireland at the weekend, but
playing against Leinster. Playing Leinster we are at the weekend.
Yeah, true. Di Flanagan's due to join us. Hopefully he comes in. Oh, there we are. Right on cue. Di Flanagan, thank you so much for joining us. You are live
no problem.
Here on the URC Unloaded. How well do you know Shanks, by the way?
Yeah, a couple of seasons with Shanks at Cardiff. So
is he a weird bloke?
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
Di played probably the worst game I've ever played for Cardiff. Remember that out in Toulouse? You were at 10.
Oh,
first thing I did was put
first play.
Yes. First thing I did was try and put a grubber through because there was no one behind. Right, if it had gone through, it would have been 100% try. It would have been under the post, but it ricocheted off someone's foot, and they went the length and scored. and then I end up dropping every ball he passed to me because he put a bit too much spin on it. I think.
You were just telling us you're a Welsh great, Shanks.
Yeah, but that was for Cardiff, then, mate. So I
well.
performed for my country. Try to.
True. Di, we'll get stuck in. Thanks again for joining us. Just to kick us off, what's it like being the head man now at the Dragons? We know Dean Ryan's moved on, and I'm sure you're happy now to not keep answering questions about that. But how's the responsibility now of leading the Dragons? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I am. I'm loving it. There's a lot of good people at our rugby club, starting from the chairman all the way down to the academy staff, and it's a big learning curve for me. Coming in pretty fast track now after Dean left, but I'm loving it. Trying to learn something every day, trying to pick things up, but also just trying to be myself. I can't change who I am, and I'll run it my way. And people are like that, and some people may not. But yeah, I am. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing at the moment.
Are you a head man who likes to delegate a little bit more and let the other coaches do their work? Or are you very hands-on, like tracksuit on, whistle in hand, barking the orders? Or are you a little bit in between?
Initially, very hands-on, tracksuit on, barking orders, whistle every session. I think a learning curve for me is there's a lot more responsibility on me off field now.
Yeah.
So it is delegating a little bit more and trusting the staff ever on me. But I'm in this job because I want to make players better, and to do that, I've got to be in the thick of it with them, and I'll never relinquish that.
What's the biggest changes, Di, you've had to make from, say, last year and the start of this year to now being top dog?
The best way I can describe it is when you go into meetings as an assistant coach or player, you can always voice your opinion and leave a meeting with, there's always someone else who's got to finish it up. I tend to be the person who's got to finish it up now. So you leave meetings with massive to-do lists and what's next and being prepared for whatever comes that way. And, it is a different workload. I make sure that the family are not affected by it, because you can tend to take things a lot home with you. But again, we've got to find that balance, and I feel I'm pretty good at that.
You're big on the family, on sort of Tame Basham. I know he's had a kid, and you're looking after him. Is that how you think you're going to get the best out of your players? Is by if there are issues like that, if there are new dads, if there are you did it with Angus O'Brien as well. You didn't give him the option of coming back with concussion. Is that paramount for you? Is just the welfare of the players, the recovery of the players, making sure that they can perform them?
Yeah, it is. It's from my upbringing as well. I grew up in a rugby club. My dad played for Penalta all his life, and I'm built on rugby club ethos, if that makes sense. And I'm a big family man, but my family extends to everyone's family in the facility. And I learned a lot of lessons along my way. That when I was at the Scarlets as a coach, Barkley, know him, Johnny McNichol and stuff. Just talking to these New Zealanders who come over and sign. It's still a game. Rugby's still a game. As much as it's a job for people and it pays the bills, and we can't lose what it's all about. And I found that quite refreshing from a lot of the foreigners who've come over to the country. And I try to run a rugby club. And in any rugby club, you look after the families first, because then people come and enjoy what they do, and the families can come along each game day and really enjoy being part of the journey, because it won't last forever for anyone, players, staff. So when you're in it, you need to enjoy the most of it, and that's what I'm trying to show daily here.
I don't know anyone who's got 2 dartboards in their house.
One's for me, and then one's for the kids. I try and say I play a lot of rugby with Gerwin Price growing up, and there's a lot smarter decision for my boy and my daughter to play darts. Surely.
He let me down last week. I told all the guys, look, I get Gerwin on, no problem. He'd come on. All excited. We announced it, and then he didn't come on.
No way. He's probably got further than he thought in the tournament. Probably,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We had Dean Ryan on. I don't know if it was this season or last season, lads.
Last season.
In the last season, he just spoke about. Obviously, he wasn't happy with what he was doing, but he spoke about some of the frustrations, in particular financial frustrations. You've spoken a little bit about your learnings in the job. I guess part of that would be around recruitment, but just looking ahead, how do you best plan for success? How do you best plan for success for yourself and the Dragons with that uncertainty, or can you?
It's been difficult up to this point. I think we're more aligned now as 4 regions in the union of where we're actually going to be, so it's much easier to plan. I think we firstly got to understand what is success for us at the moment. What does success look like? Are we going to go and win Europe? Are we going to win the league? No, but can we compete in every game? Should we be winning more games than we're winning? Yes. And it's how we go around that, There's nothing more pleasing for me seeing local boys represent our country and seeing Rio come through the Dragons pathway. And we've got to do a lot more of that. We've got to produce a lot more players, and then the results will come on the back of it. But it has been difficult, this first block, understanding where we might be. But now we're more aligned. We know what the squad can look like, the makeup of the squad, how we can continue with the continuity and what we're trying to achieve.
Sorry, would it be fair to say, are you measuring success? Sorry, Shanks. Are you measuring success in performance rather than points on the table? Then would that be a fair assumption?
At the moment, most certainly. I've rotated the squad quite a bit, because I do believe in giving people game time and opportunity, especially under a new head coach. It's unfair to go and give one player a start year, not starting for another 6 weeks, and then in and out. We have to give boys time and shirt to show what they can do. But also, there's nothing like playing. So if you want to build some depth, you want to develop people, develop players, they have to play rugby.
Di, you spoke about Rio Dyer then, and this has sort of been a big breakthrough season for him in terms of what he's done. You see him in training most days. How good can he be? Because he certainly announced himself now into Welsh rugby, and I suppose on the international scene as well during the autumn.
Again, with the majority of our youngsters, they can be as good as they want to be. A lot of it's down to them and how hard they drive themselves daily to work on what they need to work on. I think Rio would say openly one of his biggest learnings, he was brought into a Six Nations camp or an autumn camp with Wales, not as an announced squad member, but spending time with Lee Halfpenny, Liam Williams, seeing the extra work they do in the aerial skills, the stuff they do when the whistle finishes at the end of the session. Sometimes that's where the important stuff happens. So they look after the individual development, and I see it daily with Rio now, how he leads our back three with extras. He's got a great mentor and someone like Ashton Hewitt as well, where they work well together. But yeah, it's like I say to most of the youngsters, you can be as good as you want to be. You've got to drive yourself there.
Just on the atmosphere at Rodney Parade, I was watching the game. Shanks was commentating on it. It was back and forth. The Dragons obviously beat the Ospreys. Controversial decisions, missed touch in the last minute by the Ospreys. It was an amazing game of rugby, and it was sort of felt like a turning point in your season. But the atmosphere at Rodney Parade, it's not a big ground, but the fans really do get in and get behind you. And are they? Do you lean upon them when times do get tough, like they have been over the last couple of seasons?
I think we have to. I think everyone on this call has probably played at Rodney Parade against the Dragons, if that's fair. So we know what it's like when we go there. It's difficult. Obviously, we need to give them something to cheer for as well. So we know we've got to play our part. We can't just keep asking for them to be our 16th man. We've got to allow them and give them something to believe in, really, and that's our job. But it is a proper traditional rugby ground. It's got very committed fans who turn up week in, week out, and do give us an extra bit of energy at home.
Do you still, every time I played at Rodney Parade, we came in, the dressing rooms were soaked. Does that still happen? Is that just coincidence to be there?
It's a pretty small changing room, yeah.
Yeah, we used to love it. I used to love it down there.
How's it, Di? How's your imprint now on the team, and how are you trying to change up the Dragons a little bit? Because we have seen a change. I think you're definitely playing more positive rugby, playing more attacking rugby. You want to get the ball a little bit wider. How do you think you're getting on with that, and the style of play that you want them to play?
I think you've hit the nail on the head, really, from my end. We spent quite a bit of time on our attacking shape. We want to build a brand that people want to come and watch. It's an entertainment business, rugby, and we want to sell a brand that people can buy into and get excited to watch the Dragons play. There's easier ways to win games, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you can take the kicking zone further up the field and we can be that way. And in hindsight, perhaps we should have been that way. But I do believe in the process of, if we can, Rodney Parade at the moment is different to what it used to be. The pitch is outstanding. When we used to go there, it was a bit messy, a lot of water where we have to play a brand that can compete with these top teams in a proper game of rugby, and that's what I'm challenging our group to do daily.
Before we let you go, Six Nations is upon us. Wales, Warren Gatland's back again. Big match against the favourites against Ireland this weekend. How do you see it going, and how do you see the championship panning out for Wales?
I think we'll be good this year. I got a new coach can always drive a bit of energy within a group. I know Gatland's a smart cookie and how he'll want to play the game, and he'll have the team very well prepared, and he'll know everything about Test rugby. And we look at our team on paper, it's a good team. It's got a blend of experience, a lot of experience back, but also exposing people like Joe Hawkins now next to someone like George North in the centre, having Dan Bigger inside him. It's exciting. And
do you think they have enough to beat Ireland?
Ireland pretty good, aren't they? But I would count on the home factor being in the Millennium Stadium. A positive start could do us good.
Stevie's just said
you didn't give us an answer there. You didn't give us an answer. Come on.
I'd always France are definitely favourites for the Six Nations, aren't they?
No, they're not. No, they're not. Look at the bookmakers. It's Ireland's world #1 team. Come on, lads.
Yeah, I wouldn't go too far. Scotland have just pulled a gem out of the hat, haven't they? Bringing Brad Moore in as a consultant, and he lad really well with Brad, and he come in, spent a week with me to help me in my transition to being a head coach. In October, he came and spent a week in with us, and he'll show you lad to what Scotland can bring. But I would never go against Wales at home.
Good answer.
Very good. Di Flanagan, head coach of the Dragons, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you later in the season. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Yeah, I'd love to jump in there, have a couple of games of darts, lads.
I'm crap at
that. I can imagine that, John.
So bad. I got broken wrist, to be fair.
You're one of these that probably is rubbish at all sports, apart from
That's pretty rubbish at rugby.
Rubbish at all sports, yeah.
No, I'm all right.
Apart from golf.
Yeah, good goal.
That's all that matters now, mate.
Big goal.
Yeah, it's good, lads. Shanks, speaking for you, like, it's great to see that the Dragons have turned their sort of bad fortunes around over the last 6 months. Well, since Dean Ryan's been given the heave ho, good atmosphere at the ground as we referenced there, and they're playing a half decent brand of rugby and giving a lot of teams trouble. But it's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They're not necessarily winning loads, but they're winning more than last season because they didn't win a home game last year. And you can see a difference. I think they're kicking the ball away less as well. Like so many, like last couple of years, I've seen them just get in good positions and then they just kick the ball and lose possession and lose territory. Now they're keeping hold of it, playing a little bit.
Let me interrupt you there, Shanks. Mr. Andrew Cotter has just tweeted in average at golf. I take it that's about John Barkley, surely, is it? Have you played golf with Andrew Cotter, John?
I actually played golf with Cotter at Royal Troon. I reckon it was a 70-mile-an-hour wind. And Cotter started giving me a lesson. Is it the post stamp hole? And the other days you've forgotten how to play golf. And he's trying to change my swing on the tee in a 60-mile-an-hour wind. It didn't work. It's one of the most embarrassing days I've ever had. But he never wants to play me again.
How does he hit it?
Good player.
Soft, I'd imagine. Soft.
He's got a nice swing. He is a good golfer. He always complains about his hip, though. He's always got an excuse.
Do his dogs come along as well?
I know. Well, he's taught me talking about God, give it a rest, isn't it?
Probably got little golf bags for the back of them as well, haven't they?
It's good to see that some royalty is watching this evening, lads. Just on the last weekend's games, the Scarlets, they're back, or are they back? I'm not so sure, but a brilliant win against the Bulls, 37 points to 28. Shanks, kick us off, Shanks.
How dare you? Last 8 games they've played, they won 7. They're massive turnaround, really, since Europe. Since they got into Europe, they've had a couple of big wins. The only blip, really, was Ospreys during the Christmas period when Lozana got a red card and they end up losing that game quite heavily. But apart from that, mate, their form's been good. Last 8 games, they're averaging 30 points a game and conceding 20 points a game. When you think of the last couple of seasons, it's been the other way around. So I think it's been real positive for the Scarlets this ever since sort of December, really, the 11th. Peely's turned them around. And the biggest thing really is discipline. Start of the season, discipline was poor, red cards galore. There still have been some yellow cards, but they're sorting that out. They're giving away, I think they're giving away less stupid penalties in stupid areas. And really good game for them on the weekend against the Bulls because there was a chance there that they went too far ahead. And the Bulls are a good team, and I thought they'd come back. And look, hopefully, in the next couple of seconds, we're going to see some of the tries. As if by magic they come on. Look at that. But a good start. This guy played really well, Johnny McNichol at 15. I thought he was excellent all game, and probably could have been in the Welsh squad. Dan Davis was superb at 7.
He's been brilliant the last 2 weeks, actually.
Yeah, his feet, the lot. And this is what's good is, look, they know this is a turnover. They know where the space is, and it's just about being able to read and know what to do and where to get the ball. If you take contact there, someone's going to get back and defend it because the ruck speed is going to be slow. But they don't. They keep the ball alive. They know where the space is. It's a really good kick. Gareth Davis does well to keep the width and just takes his chance. This was a try. Right at the end, really. They were 2 points ahead. They could have gone for posts. They don't. And that's a brilliant angle. That is a brilliant angle from a really good player. And look, sometimes he can run himself into a bit of trouble, but when he plays well, he's got an offloading game. He's really good on his feet. He breaks tackles. He's actually quite big as well. But there was a turning point in the game. I don't know if we've got it, but it was a turnover from David Howells. Right. So they've just scored, the Bulls. Scarlets are under a lot of pressure, and the Bulls are all over them. It's a good tackle by Lousy, who was excellent. Turnover ball, penalty. They relieved the pressure, and then the Bulls couldn't really get back into the game. And it's little instances like this that can really, really galvanize a team and turn them around, because they were under the cosh there, and I thought the Bulls were going to come back. But it takes moments like that just to relieve pressure and turn the game. And Lousy was good. Callum Afomi was good. Fafita, Dan Davis. There's some real standout performances there. So super impressed by the Scarlets. What about you? Always follow them, John? It's a former club of yours. Got a shirt up in the background there.
Good on. Been hiding that for the first few months of the season, haven't I? No, I was. No, I mean, I want to see them do well. I think you pretty much summed it up there, Shanks. I think they're big players are playing well, and at the start of the year, they're big players who are the ones that are earning big money, and the ones you expect as a fan and as a coach, certainly, and as fellow players to front up, and they weren't. So now that they're fronting up, they're playing well. I guess to Di Flanagan's point about what a success looked like for them, probably, I don't know. They're definitely still in the mix of trying to build a squad, but it's good to see them back in the mix.
Mid-table would be good, wouldn't it? From where they are.
And win their home games and knock off some big teams, and stay in that kind of rhythm of being competitive to the end of the year. But no, super impressed as well.
Stevie, what did you make of Ulster 35-5 to the Stormers? That Stormers were missing a few players, but still got to put them away, haven't you, mate?
Yeah, you still got to play what's in front of you. But Bobby Skinstad was telling me, and I didn't actually realise how bad it is. So the Stormers, their travel situation, or the South African teams, their travel situation, a lot of fans probably don't know this, that the teams are South African teams are sponsored by a certain airline, so they have to fly via Doha to get across to the UK, and then of course they probably fly into London, and then it's another flight from London to Belfast to Glasgow, whatever it is. So I think the Glasgow game that they played, what was it, the previous week, they flew on a Monday morning and didn't get into Glasgow until Wednesday night, and then had to play on the I think it was a Sunday game, wasn't it? But anyway, it just shows you that it's really, really difficult when the South African teams find themselves with the travel schedule like they do, and it's about managing the squad. And Dobbo, John Dobson, the head coach of the Stormers, just took the decision to rest. I think again it was roughly around 20 players, maybe 2 or 3 of the starting guys in the Stormers team would make their full squad. So the Ulster took advantage right from the off. Their ball retention was good, their skills were good. They looked like a team full of confidence, even though it hasn't been a fruitful couple of months for them. And big Tumang Allen, the prop, got himself over for a try, man of the match. His interview was hilarious as well. I'm not sure if you were able to watch it, but he shows the ball and over he goes, takes a bit of a high shot. But by all accounts, lads, there's been players like Tumang Allen here who have kept the squad going. I was chatting. I was at a lunch, a club rugby dinner there on Saturday, my old club, and I was chatting to a few guys involved in the committees and everything at Ulster, and they're saying it's as bad of a couple of months as it's been, but the squad have stuck really tight, and nobody's calling people out or pointing the finger and blaming. So I think things are a little bit more positive, and that win against Seal could be the turning point in their season the previous week. But not good performance by Ulster. Still lots to improve on. And I think if they had been really at it, like really, really at it, they could have put 60 or 70 points in the Stormers, because the Stormers were all over the shop.
Do you know what I liked, Stevie? Do you know what I liked? It reminded me of about 3 years ago, the Moore-Hume combination. They were really good. Both of them, soft hands, good angles like that. Tumang Allen try was from Moore hitting up, then Hume made the break. But it was 3 years ago, when I suppose they both burst onto the scene, and they were quality. And they were good. They were good at the weekend.
Yeah, they were. It'll be interesting to see if, when they come up against the stronger teams again, will they revert back to their maul and kicking the ball a lot more. But we'll see how that turns out. Di was on there. Dragons versus Glasgow. John, give us your take on the Glasgow lads. You're absolutely flying at the minute,
Yeah, I'm just going to go back. So I was just checking there. Just another, I guess, a point on that game was another injury from a croc roll, wasn't it, on Evan Ruas in that game, which was a bit of again, it's nothing malicious, but it can only be a matter of time before that's banned. Glasgow were disappointing probably a couple of weeks ago with the performance against Bath, but yeah, I guess they have definitely turned a corner. They're playing a good brand of rugby. I was one of those guys that probably questioned some of Franco Smith's selections, and we heard Di there saying you got to build a squad, you got to give guys game time. I'm a new coach, and to be fair, the guys that he's brought in have played brilliantly. So it seems a really good place to be at the moment. They're playing a good brand of rugby. There's a load of guys in the Scotland squad. So, yeah, big tip of the hat to them. Where will they finish up on the table? They're pushing there for, there's a long way to go, isn't there? But they are pushing in the right direction. If they keep on this trajectory, they're in with a good shout of a home playoff spot. So, no, I was really impressed. Sam Johnson came back. Stephen McDowell played well. They've got a good blend of, you need those players, don't you? They're always there. The Cancelleries of the world, Josh Mackay's, Cole Forbes is back, played well, scored a lovely try. Again, I think Ben's half asleep in there. But no, they were good. They got Simon Bergen. So they just seem to be in a bit of a groove at the moment. They had Ali Price playing, which was interesting. Duncan Weir, the bog brush, is playing. Sam Johnson back in his first game looked pretty sharp, and that's a great try. So no, I was impressed. I think, like Di said, it's not an easy place to go and play rugby. It's not a place you're thinking, do you know what? You see that on the fixture list, I'm buzzing to go down to Newport, and it's a game that a lot of teams slip up. So good win for Glasgow.
That's amazing. That little play there is so good. Like just being able to read what you're doing. The winger and the centre, both on the same page. Dragons had chances though. It's just the ability to take those chances because you're not going to get many against these big teams. And there was one right early in the first half. Well, first off, they've just scored now, Glasgow. This is from the kickoff. And Dragons have just given them a piggyback all the way up the field. So there's a penalty there for a no-arms tackle. So they come back, get the line out. Then there's another penalty here. You can see there, Jack Dixon offside. So that's been called by the line. The touch judge. It's another penalty there. Then they're able to kick it deep into touch. There's a penalty off this, coming in the side. So then they can get it 5 meters out. And then Fraser Brown scores. It's just too easy. This was the chance they had. A pretty clear-cut chance as well. And I thought just slightly, the Dragons were a little bit flat through certain parts of this game. Like, Jordan Williams there is too flat. Whether he thinks that ball is going to hit him or not, there's a lack of communication. Because that was a clear chance. That was a chance they should have taken. And that can change the game around completely, from being out the game to win the game. I just thought they were just dominated really physically by Glasgow. Do you remember the start of the show, right? We had Franco Smith on and Glasgow couldn't win an away game, could they? And we were joking saying, well, you might beat Zebre away now and that might kickstart. And it just has. This guy was good. Stafford McDowell. He looks like a unit as well.
Big lump. He's about 6'5", mate. Yeah, you look at the team they picked, and the Jamie Batty, Simon Bergen, JP Dupree, Tom Gordon, had Jack Dempsey play. So they had a pretty handy pack. Fraser Brown, they had a lot of experience in there, and they just ground them down. And like you said, they had options and they had opportunities. This was probably flattered Glasgow, but when you're pushing the envelope a bit, I think Dragons will always be that team at the moment where they can flip-flop and they'll have some scores that they get run up against them. But despite that, I do think Dragons are going in the right direction. They're playing a much better brand of rugby, and they look like they actually care about what they're doing, and they look like they're enjoying themselves a bit more.
Basham was good.
He's always good. I like him as a player. Very good.
Carried hard, didn't give up.
It's good to see Glasgow going well. One of the Scottish teams winning, John. The other one losing, Edinburgh, losing at home to the Sharks. Edinburgh seem to be, I've obviously covered a number of their games this season, and they play I think it's just a Scottish thing, to be honest with you, ridiculous rugby from time to time. And then they just, don't know if it's a lack of concentration or just ability. You maybe give me your thoughts, but they just switch off for periods of games and just bring on pressure.
Yeah, that's probably been my criticism of Edinburgh over the last 18 months. I love watching Edinburgh play, having been involved in the Richard Cockerell era, which wasn't a great spectacle to play in or watch, to what it is now. You'd far rather watch that, but the criticism would be that they can drift in and out of games and they can be wasteful with the ball and, concentration lapses. So, looking at the game, they were 14-0 down. They scored a worldie of a try. We're going to see the Sharks try first, but they were right in the game. They've just scored, been 14-0 down, and then they do this where Immelman, who played really well, offload. Hamish Watson was back, offload. De Bruyne, great ball.
Oh.
Great ball. Nick Haining almost dropped. That's end-to-end stuff. So they go from 14-0 down to this, and they missed the conversion, 19-14, go in before halftime. And the game, it was a really good game, actually. It was exciting, end-to-end, good crowd. But Edinburgh couldn't capitalize in the second half. The Sharks' defense was brilliant, like ridiculously physical, really aggressive. And Edinburgh had a few chances at the end, and they went to the corner instead of going for the draw, which, again, it's always in hindsight. I liked what they were trying to do. I think they understand their position in the table. If they're going to climb it, they got to win. So, lots to like about the performance, but another home loss for Edinburgh, which is.
I don't think you can have a go at any team wanting to go for the win over the draw.
No. I think so, but just do you think, given the position? I mean, they were on 3 tries. I suppose they're going for the bonus point and the win versus 2 points. So
we've drawn a couple of games before, not many, and you still come off it feeling down. You don't come away feeling like you've won. I'd rather win or lose.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it was just a talking point, Shanks, to get across.
Yeah, save that for my rant.
Yeah, what you got? Good enough, yeah.
Yeah, not really. It's personal. Stevie, give us the lowdown of Benetton Munster 70-pointer.
Wow, yeah, crazy. I think Richard Cockrell won't be happy with obviously conceding 30 points, but this Munster team, just the brand of rugby that they're playing it's nothing we've seen before really from Munster over the last decade. It's refreshing. It's good to watch. Everybody's comfortable with their hands on the ball. You see the tip-ons, the offloads, quick hands, playing with plenty of depth. John Hodnett there getting in for the try. It was the pick of the game. And, obviously the weather conditions help both sides massively. But yeah, this is a Munster side that I think are going to be challenging when it comes to the latter stages of this competition. And, fair play to Benetton as well. I think Benetton have been, outstanding this season. They've taken a couple of big scalps at home, and it just was a step too far against this Munster side. And, Munster just a little bit more clinical. Some players are playing well for them, and I'm excited to see how they go. But yeah, just on the Sharks, John, on the Edinburgh game, before moving on, do you think the Sharks can really challenge for this competition? I think they're my outside bet to potentially win it. I know they're sitting 7 or 8 at the minute.
I think so. I just think we rarely see them at full strength, full noise. This is Hawks injury with Ben Velikos not in that interest there, but he was brilliant. Yeah, he was brilliant. Edinburgh getting behind, and Wes Houston, who's actually coming onto a bit of a game, gives away the yellow card there. But yeah, I think they can. I think when they're fully loaded, and if they click like the Stormers did for the last, that's brilliant. That is the last few games of the year, they will cause some damage. And I think we saw it last year with the Bulls, just power, had everyone ready to go in the knockout. And I would put the Sharks in that same category. Once they get going, they're going to be tough to stop, just given the quality they've got within their ranks. I guess just on Benetton, I watched the game as well. Or saw some of the game. I think on Benetton, they score some world-class tries. And that's why I think teams watching them, or who watch them with a view to the Six Nations, might be thinking, do you know what? Because Zebra are capable as well of scoring. I know they're not doing much in the league, but both teams' skill level and the consistency they do it is way up there. So yeah, I was impressed by Benetton, even more impressed by Munster. Actually, they came from 14 zip down and turned it around, and it was actually close right until the end. So enjoyed that one.
Yeah, Connacht's played against the Lions. I suppose the biggest talking point to come out of this game was, of course, Jack Carty breaking who do you call his record? You played against him, Shanks. Anyway, it'll come to
Dan Carter.
Eric Elwood.
Eric Elwood, there we go. There we are.
Gav will be crying behind the scenes somewhere.
Oh, he's gonna be raging. No, fair play to him. I know it's been an up and down season, but Keelan Blade, once again, brilliant, scoring tries for fun. He was, of course, on that Emerging Ireland tour earlier on in the season, played particularly well in it. Seems to be him and Nathan Doak are like fighting for that fourth Irish position. So it's good to see him. Connacht giving the fans something to cheer about. The Lions, do you know what? I'm underwhelmed by the Lions this season. I watched them early on in the season, the Ulster game, and they scored a couple of cracking tries. Their back row were running around smashing lads, and they just seem to have went off it. Like, that's just too easy. It's really easy. Keelan Blade, he pick that up all day and get in for fun. Is it a work rate thing? Is it a just not organised enough in defence? We know that they can cause teams trouble with ball in hand, but for me, I was expecting more from them this season. And fair play to Connacht, they took them apart.
They beat Cardiff in Cardiff, and they look really good then. But not seeing that form.
Yeah, a couple of maul tries in that, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, kicking on, boys. We're running out of time, are we? No, we're grand. Zebra, Ospreys, give us the lowdown. The Ospreys, Shanks, because the Ospreys at the start of the season under Toby Booth, we were sort of like, oh, we're not really sure. They've got all these good players, but they're not performing well. Now, all of a sudden, they resorted back to a really dominant set piece, specifically the scrum, and everything good's just coming off that.
Yeah, the scrum is massively functioning. We saw that against Montpellier, saw it against Leinster. That's why Wales have picked 6 Ospreys in their pack to start against Highland. Owen Williams as well. I know he hasn't played at the weekend, but he's played in nearly all the games of recent, which is contributed to Ospreys' form and confidence. They lost a lot of players, but they still had like Morgan Morris, who is one of the best performers at the moment for the Ospreys. He's still churning out really good performances at number 8. And at one stage you thought, well, I wasn't sure how this game was going to go. It started off with the Ospreys, then it came back to Zebra, and then Zebra started to get on top. But fair play. They ground out a win, and sometimes you've got to do that against opposition like Zebra. Just do what it takes to win. And they had a try right at the end, which nailed it for him. Keelan Giles' form is good and has been good, and he's been scoring tries, and he's got a real knack of just breaking tackles. He's not big. I wouldn't say he's overly physical, but he can just wriggle out of tackles, and he ends up putting Ruben Morgan Williams over for the try. So job done. Stephen Myler came on and made a difference, I thought, towards the end of that game as well. So all in all, I think it's a pretty good place to be at the moment for the Ospreys. They just keep on grinding out results. The Montpellier wins home and away are huge, and they're doing well because at the start of the season it didn't look overly good. But just like the Scarlets, they're back.
They're back. Watch out, Wales. Watch out, Wales. And the team that's also back and is always back is Leinster. Shanks, can they go the whole season unbeaten in the URC?
Yeah, I think they can.
They're that good, yeah. I mean, it was Leinster thirds.
Yeah, a lot of new players in. But we spoke about this after the show because we covered it. Like, just the level that Leinster, the main team, get these players is incredible because they're near enough ready to go. Like, sometimes when you're coming through age groups and academies, you get to the main team, the first team, and you've still got a lot to do. You've still got to understand the game, physically, mentally, intelligent-wise. But these players that step in are they've got rugby intelligence. They know how to play the game. They know how Leinster want to play the game. And, you could put 4 or 5 in, and it doesn't make a difference to the way Leinster play. I tell you what they're doing now is they've redefined the new 5-metre tap because they had 2 more at the weekend. 2 more different variations that we haven't seen. One was like really intricate and had 4 or 5 different moving parts, and McGrath ends up going over. It went behind 2 or 3 players and put it back inside. It was brilliant. And then Deegan did another one. His was the first one, but all of a sudden now.
Do you think we'll see Ireland doing the same thing? I know we're not talking Six Nations, but the innovation, we call it what you want. Leinster at the cutting edge of that, and there's so many guys. Like we joked at the start of the show, Ireland v Wales, and it may as well be Leinster v Wales. Are we going to see that imprint? Because that is so hard to defend against 5 meters out.
Yeah, it is. Do you know what? Like, if it's not first phase, they cut you. It's because they probably don't want to. They want to then do it third or fourth phase. So they'll set up a ruck in the middle of the field. They'll have someone come around, and then they'll realign with like O'Brien, with Hugh Keenan, and then they'll go for you because they realign really quickly. All their forwards know which, the speed of their footwork, what that needs to be, and the angles they need to take, and they're all running at the same pace, and they're all genuine options. So, yeah, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Same old.
Cardiff
were poor, though. I would say Cardiff were poor. With the team they took over, should have done better. They had quite a few, what you would say, first-team players in that, and they weren't even in the game at all. And Leinster took their foot off the gas. I think they were like 30 points up or 30 points up at one stage, and it could have been 70 or 80.
Yeah.
But
it's just go back to that 5 meter tap and go. I think it was the Bulls in the semi-final against Leinster when the hooker Grobler. That's what sort of started all this innovation and trying to come up with different moves. And I think that they tricked Leinster into that scoring that try. So, yeah, fair play to Leinster. They've learned from a few of the lessons that they've taken. Lads, we'll move on. There's Zebra, obviously, Bennett. We'll keep her lit. Rants of the week. Anybody got a rant? Anything really annoying you, John? I know you get easily annoyed.
No, I'm just excited. I'm just excited for the Six Nations. Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's about as excited as I get. No, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be always compared to pre-season. You don't know what to expect, do you? So no, there's no rants, just nervous anticipation.
Nervous energy.
I'm nervous.
I got one. Yeah, Ryan Wilson. He's my rant. Just giving away like secrets in the comms box. Like if I'm having a little sweet or something like that, go, oh, there he is. There he is, putting his fingers in the sweets. Oh, he's opened the sweets. He's like, all right. We're meant to be professional. And then there might be like sometimes you listen to the referee because we know the laws, what we think we do, but the referees know them better. And he's just bugging me for, what's that law? What's that law? I'm like, let's listen to the referee, Ryan, and he's going to tell us. He was just trying to stitch me up.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah, but I'll be prepared next time.
Yeah, well, now you can load it. There you go.
Yeah,
I don't really have a rant, but I was working with Bobby Skinstad again at the weekend, and he looks even younger again this season. I don't know what it is.
All right, there
he's had a bit of Botox in the off season, maybe.
I think he's had a bit of work.
That's been work done. Tan
as well.
Tan goes a long way.
He was just back from Morocco. Lucky sod. So he's and then he's heading out to Cape Town this week. So it's tough for old Bobby. But move on, lads. Presenter's choice. We'll get a few things up on screen. Favorite Six Nations memory. Your worst.
Just on Bobby, right? Bobby will go to like Morocco and Cayman Islands on holiday in Switzerland. I go to Spain, France. He's Mr. Exotic.
You could 10B, mate.
You'd go to 11B. Right. Sorry. Carry on. Presenter's choice.
Yeah. Best Six Nations night out. Shanks, you said you've been unbelievable, scored loads of tries for Wales, but what was your worst Six Nations performance for Wales?
Game you were playing in, I think. Ireland 2009. Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Missed a couple of tackles. First off, like Gordon Darcy stepped inside me. Luckily, I didn't score from that. And then another one was, I wasn't quite sure. Jamie Roberts, zero communication from him. I ended up.
That's definitely what you said in the team meeting. Isn't it? Wait, I didn't know he didn't speak. I don't know.
You've got to tell me, mate. You've got to tell me if you've got it. Drico gets on the outside of him, basically, and he catches my attention, and I end up coming in, and he feeds, I don't know, I can't remember, it was Tommy Bowe, maybe, through him. I end up being man of the match for Ireland that day. But what we did, Stevie, like we beat Ireland in 2005 there, so it was sort of giving you it back. And we could have won it as well. We had a kick at the end. Just fell short. Rog got the drop kick, but I'm happy. I'm happy you won.
Thank you.
What about your boys? Six Nations.
Worst ones.
Worst
How
games.
long we got?
Minute.
2010 Wales. I watched it the other day. I just saw clips of it online, and I still don't know how we lost that game. 10 points up.
Your worst performance, or not?
I didn't say you're my worst, just worst. Okay, well, the worst thing to be involved in was that worst individual performance.
I've opened myself up. I made myself vulnerable.
Worst individual performance. I can't remember. There's too many to even think. Probably. Oh no, France. No, France. Yeah.
I knew you'd get it.
Yeah, you get there eventually, don't you? You get there eventually. No, France, 2007. My first Six Nations, and I'm trying to fix problems with myself. And they used to do that Yashvili play with like a kind of wraparound play off forward pods, and I'm blitzing when I'm meant to drift, and I'm drifting when I'm meant to blitz, and all over the shop. Like, I think I got 2 out of 10 in the papers or something. So
turn around like this.
Yeah, that was there was a lot of bad days at the start, to be fair.
John, were you playing in the game in Croke Park when Scotland beat Ireland? Were you playing in that game?
I was there, mate.
Were you starting that game?
I was starting that game, yeah.
Yeah. Was it Beattie was in the? Yeah, Beattie was at number 8, wasn't he?
Yeah, Beats played, beat a big old try on the left side. Yeah, on the left side, a good try.
Yeah, so that was probably the worst game that I ever played in, because that try came from me trying to like give us offload, and they went the length, and like I can remember like Beattie we made him look like Kieran Reid in his prime. Like that day, he was like,
yeah,
he was a ball garbage player. Like, but we made him look so good.
No offense.
Yeah, but that was a terrible game. Dan Parks like just kicking penalty after penalty after penalty.
Cauliflower
was
boot.
Like, oh. And the thing was, like, we were playing for the Triple Crown. Like, if we had won, we'd have won the Triple Crown. So that was a poor day. But yeah, you boys just grind us down. So that would be my worst.
Do you know what I like about Parksy?
Performance?
Parksy was a 10, right? And he spent a bit of time in Cardiff, and like he didn't mind wearing Gilbert boots
because he was getting paid.
He was getting paid. There wasn't any other 10 in the world wearing Gilbert boots, but he didn't care. So he was a good player, but lost a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, Aaron Shingler, the only other player I know that wears Gilbert boots, and that's because he's probably the tightest man I've ever met. So there you go,
Yeah.
50 quid.
Boys, okay. The Six Nations is upon us.
Yep.
Thoughts? Obviously, it's Ireland heading over to Wales in the first game at the Principality. Shanks, I'm sure the tent is sold out. You're going to be a busy man.
Oh yeah.
Who have you got guest speakers? Have you anybody good in?
No. So I've had to go for Gordon Darcy and Jordan Murphy. No, only the best, mate. And Colin Jarvis as well. So we'll all be up there. Yeah,
he's good.
Yeah. But Stevie, Ireland are on form at the moment. They're peaking team. Wales. The only thing I would say is the attitude will be there and the energy levels will be there from Wales, and Gatland will get them motivated. I'm not sure quite the skill level and the intelligence is there, and the game plan and the game style that Ireland have, but it won't be a lack of effort that will be missing in Wales. It might be just the ability to break defences a little bit. Gone with a 12 who can play rugby, who's a ball player. Had his first cap against Australia, looked really good, but doesn't really start that much for Ospreys because Kieran Williams does. So it's weird that he's Wales's number 112, but he can't nail down a spot in the Ospreys at number 12. But they picked a good team. It's a strong team. There's a lot of experience there, a couple of young heads. But Ireland, mate, you're number 1 in the world for a reason. So I think it's going to be a tough ask. I think Ireland will win by maybe 10 to 15 points.
That's what I said. Jeez. That's what I said. Hold on, I said that and you came at me on Twitter.
Easy target, mate.
I actually think, you can't put asterisks in it, but I'm not going back at all. I think Ireland will win by 12 or whatever I said, or Wales will win by 1. Like, if they can stay in the game, but there's also every chance. I don't think Wales will blow them away. There is a chance that Ireland could blow Wales away.
Yeah. What are you saying, Stevie?
Yeah, lads, it's something that's sort of I'm a little bit cautious of is the amount of game time that a lot of the Irish players sort of haven't had. Like if they suffer a couple of injuries, Tadhg Furlong has started 1 game for Leinster this season. He's played in obviously the autumn internationals. He started in all those, but he hasn't played a game in a couple of months. He's due to be starting in this game. Johnny Sexton hasn't started since the 1st of January in a game, not match fit. If there's an injury at scrum half, is it Conor Murray being brought in? There's rumours that James Lowe isn't going to be playing. I think he had to fly back to New Zealand because a family member's unwell. So, he's your first choice, one of your first choice wings. He's not going to be there. Do you then pick Keith Earls, who started? He started 4 games this season, all season, and he hasn't played in a game since the 1st of January. So, there's a lot of, as you say, the boys are playing well. They've been really lucky with injuries over the last couple of seasons in the international team. But if they pick up a couple of knocks as the competition progresses, I think they'll struggle a little bit more for that fluidity that they have to their game. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I fancy Ireland to win this weekend. I do fancy them to win. But a couple of years ago, red card, Peter O'Mahony changed the game, turned the game on its head. We all know the amount of yellow and red cards that are being dished out. And there could be an incident like that in the game that, goes either Ireland's way or Wales's way. So, but I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a lot tighter than 10 or 12 points like you lads think. So we'll see how it pans out.
Calcutta Cup. Calcutta Cup.
Yeah, Calcutta Cup, John. Do you have this is a good fixture for you guys in recent years?
It's been, yeah. I mean, bizarrely considering we didn't win it for 10 years, and then we've won 3 of the last 5 and drawn 1. So had the Calcutta Cup. I was hoping there was going to be pictures of me with that cup for years. It lasted 11 months, and then we had it again. I was furious. Yeah. I mean, again, I was chatting to Danny Kerr, mate, about this in the week. You don't know, do we? And we sound like crap pundits, but we just don't know what to expect in this first game. There's always that nervousness and you're kind of reluctant to put your neck on the line. I'll go back to what I said last year, and I said last year, and it gets thrown back in your face. But if not now, then when for Scotland? I'm not saying they're going to win the championship by any means. I think Ireland and France are way too far ahead, but I think England are beatable. I think the way the fixtures are, I think Wales and Murrayfield are beatable. I think the injuries England have got, new coach, you're going to see that much different in the space of a couple of weeks. We just don't know. So I'll say it, Scotland will win, but only if Finn Russell plays well, and that's the case every time Scotland play.
I think he's got it. It's a 10-point game, so
for England,
Scotland, Scotland are the underdogs, big underdogs. It's funny,
might be worth that.
You look at Steve Borthwick and what he achieved with Leicester with not an unbelievable squad. They had a couple of good big names in there, but it wasn't ridiculous, and he managed to win the Gallagher Premiership. And I just wonder, obviously he's working with greater talent in this English squad. I think he's a very cute coach, and reading articles this week talking about how much he loves the kicking game and the pragmatism that he brings into what he wants in the game plan. Will Marcus Smith start? There's chat that he because of the injuries he probably will, but the hands maybe been forced a little bit. I heard Freddie Burns on earlier on the radio chatting, and he was saying about if George Ford was fit, then probably Marcus Smith probably may not even be in the squad. So that kind of tells you what way England are going to go about it. And I just feel that England have too much firepower up front, and they're going to win the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if they won by more than 10 points.
Do you think so? You think they got more firepower up front?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think Scotland have got a soft underbelly and always have done. Like so, um, and
Say what you
yeah,
think, mate.
until they
So we feel.
prove.
Yeah, say what you feel. Say what's in your heart.
But maybe that's more. Maybe that's more just against Ireland, of course, and like the recent results against England have been different to that comment. So it'll be really interesting to see. But I just think England's gonna.
You're
They
going to
have to get the
England.
fan. They have to get the fans on side as well.
Yeah, they
Like
don't have to, Emily.
they got booed out of their stadium in the autumn
Good.
internationals.
Hope they get booed again. Hope they get booed all Six Nations. I don't care.
So do I. Like so do I. But
Shanks, who's winning that one? Come on.
I think England as well. I think England will be too strong. Too many options. It'd be interesting to see who they pick. 9, 10, 12, 13 Slade's out. I don't think the team's been announced yet, is it? Have I missed it or not? No. I think Farrell might probably play 10 to allow you will feature somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But what I will say is I think they'll outmuscle you, JB.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's England have outmuscled Scotland for years up front. I think England packs done that for years, many places. So that might be what Borthwick does. I might be wrong. But
yeah.
New pack.
I think it'll be close.
Well,
New players.
France are going to outmuscle Italy. Do you think, lads? Do you think Italy obviously have come on, beat the Wales last year? Another good result in the autumn. Benetton's playing well. Some players in form. Surely this isn't going to be one of those shock moments in.
No way.
Don't know. First game up. You can get shocks.
Way, James.
You can't. Italy have beaten France before.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
not this France.
Not this
No.
France team. Not
2013, Shanks.
But I don't know.
It's in France as well, isn't it? It's
France.
No, it's in Italy.
But
in Italy.
It's in Italy.
yeah,
I mean, doesn't think
France
they're
going to
gonna
win.
France
But
will win.
I would put a tiny bet on Italy to maybe surprise them.
Yeah,
A red
yeah.
card.
I think it's going to be.
Like
I think it's going to be tighter. Yeah, and it's due to be 15 degrees, sunshine in Rome. Looked at the weather forecast, and yeah, part of me thinks not that Italy are going to win, but it's going to be like 10, 12-point win, something like that.
It'd be a case of France just underestimating them a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Now, look, if I was a betting man, I'd bet on France, but I'm just saying. There's a slight chance Italy could do it. Catch them cold.
Yeah, slight chance. Well,
Well,
boys, enjoy the rugby at the weekend. Enjoy it. What were you going to say there, John?
I was just going to say, Steve, you're clearly back in Ireland. You called them favourite for the title. Shanks, you backing for the title?
Ireland, because they got France and England at home. England being the last game, Super Saturday, so the two big ones in a
Grand Slam. Grand Slam. Okay, interesting. I'm saying France.
Grand Slam.
I'm going to go
Grand Slam.
No.
Right. Who are they going to lose to then, John?
Don't know, but
I don't know.
Scotland.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. No.
Look, this is the best thing about the Six Nations. It's so close. Any team can win on their day. It's just who can maintain that momentum.
Just before we go, I had a message from Andrew Cotter saying it was I actually meant the golf comment about Shanks, so that's good to get cleared up.
Okay. What did he say?
That's what he said, mate.
And also, we got a message from Billy McDev on Twitter. Sounds like a great guy. He said Shanklin is director. Ignorant to any player that isn't Welsh or Irish. Ferris, known to be one of the most obnoxious and arrogant people ever to appear on TV. Barkley, two-faced snobbery of the highest order. Should have sacked Wilson. Glasgow are back. McDev, would love you to come on this podcast / show. We think you're a great guy. You sound like you've got a lot in your chest that you want to get off.
Yeah, therapy session.
Would happily facilitate that for you, McDev, and calm down.
Cheers, Shanks. Love that. Boys, thanks for coming on, as always. If you want to watch every minute of every game, of course, subscribe to Viaplay, where you can watch all of the URC and, of course, some of the European games as well. So until next time, see you later. Have a good one, lads.
Cheers,
You're
man.
arrogant. You're two-faced. You're arrogant.